World Hunger.
And next up, a game that is probably my biggest request, aside from that other one about the fucking alien that falls in the pits. No. I'm talking about motherfucking Bubsy 3D. I don't even know who the hell Bubsy is. It's just some generic cat that doesn't wear pants. Not that cats wear pants anyway, but he's got a shirt, so where's his pants? Bubsy was clearly intended as a mascot character like Sonic or Mario, but failed miserably. Nevertheless, a whole series of games was made and he crossed over to multiple consoles, Sega Genesis, Atari Jaguar, and Super NES, which even got a sequel. But the biggest cat turd in the litter pan was the PlayStation version, the character's first venture into 3D, because everybody else was doing it.
So, you wanna be a video game star?
As the game begins, you're walking around collecting atoms. That's it. There's some enemies to kill, but not many, and they don't move. Basically, all you're doing is getting the atoms, much like flying through the rings in Superman 64. The first thing you'll notice is how boring the graphics look. There's no style, no taste, no creative design whatsoever. Just flat colors and bland scenery. If you stare at it for more than 2 minutes, you get immediate sensory deprivation. You'd rather stare at a blank wall. About these atoms, you'd think it would be easy. Couldn't you just walk through them? Like Sonic or Mario going through coins or rings? No, you can't. To move, you're not allowed to simply hold the D-pad or joystick in that direction. No. You have to painstakingly turn yourself from a standstill and then move in the direction you're facing. When trying to do something as simple as getting the items is a chore, then you really have a problem. It gets even worse when you're trying to jump on enemies. Every time you leap, the camera goes into a downward angle. In fact, you can't control the camera at all. It usually locks into whatever direction you're facing, which may have seemed self-explanatory to the developers, but 3D games don't work that way. You need to control the camera, and whenever you get hit, the camera spins around to face you, which only causes you to get disoriented and get hit again. It would be just as much fun to sit in a swivel chair while someone spins you around and keeps punching you in the face. That's what playing Bubsy 3D is like getting punched on a swivel chair. This seems as if it was the first 3D game ever made, but Super Mario 64 came before this, and that played perfectly. What happened here? Even the blocks look like you can carve them out to make an N64 logo. Maybe it's just that I have Super Mario 64 on the brain because that's what I'd rather be playing! And to be even more annoying, Bubsy keeps talking.
Oh, look! An arrow! Aren't these game designers wonderful?
Yeah, I bet they thought they were clever. Overall, this game just feels unfinished. And what I really mean is that it's like it was barely started at all. I thought this was a prototype of some sort, not an actual finished game that got released in stores. It's a pile of junk. Most of the games I own are junk. I'm hoarding junk. I surrounded myself with fucking garbage.
Nuclear proliferation.
Hello?
John, where are you?
I'm putting this episode off.
You need to stack up and come review this game.
But I'm not hiding though.
Is Jock gonna have to choke a bitch?
I think he bought it, Rockington. Whoa, no, I was reviewing the game the whole time. Look! John, that doesn't go in there, you silly bitch! Oh. You're right. You're right, Jock. This has to be done.
Bubsy.
Bubsy was a Bobcat tune, I guess, that video game company Accolade tried to push as their mascot of sorts. You know, someone to rival the likes of Mario and Sonic. You did a good job here, guys. It's a cat, and you put him in a shirt, bam, it's Bubsy. I quit! Bubsy. Claws encounters of the furred kind. Now, how can I fail? I don't see how I can fail.
Oh, jeez, I just don't really want to do this, but yeah, you know, contracts and the sort.
What could possibly go wrong?
I don't know. You're pretty safe with the Chapter 1 called Cheese Wheels of Doom. So I'm willing to wager that everything could go wrong. The first thing you'll notice is that this game is a little something I like to call a float game. As in, everything's floaty! Even Bubsy. In fact, that's one of his main moves. I find it a bit curious that they designed a bobcat to have two abilities, jump and float. What kind of character design is this? It'd be cool if he was like, you know, a flying squirrel or a bat even. Then I'd have reason to feel justified in gliding. I mean, when's the last time you were hiking and a freaking bobcat just came floating by? It didn't happen! It's because it can't happen! I know some of you might call that nitpicking, but look how stupid it looks! It's a pantsless cat with a white exclamation t-shirt fucking floating around like Mary Poppins in a hurricane! The background is really disorienting, just watch. When you jump up high, it just sort of stays put and all the platforms around you completely vanish, and it gives you a pretty poor idea of where you reside spatially. Also, every single button jumps. That's a pretty good allocation of your buttons. Oh, is that a save point? Let's go check it out. Am I stupid? I really thought that was a save point. Like, seriously, doesn't that look like a midway save point to you? No, whatever, you're right, I forgot. Gumball machines are the cause of 200,000 deaths a year. It's serious. Everything is just really shoddy. The hit detection is weird, the jumps are hard to make, and what? What killed me here? I mean, as you can see, there is a giant space in between me and Steve Martin Jr. here. Whatever. It feels like they wanted to make something like Sonic the Hedgehog here, but the levels are built like it's Mario. He's got some sort of ice momentum going on here. If you start running, he'll build up ridiculous speed, but since you die in one hit, your adventure's bound to end in seconds. It's like they didn't want you to have fun with this game. They wanted you to feel like a 4-year-old who just ran out into an ice rink wearing a frictionless feet. Oh, what's going on here, Bubsy? You feeling alright? I melted? Was that falling damage? They put falling damage in their motherfucking 2D platform game? It's optional, but you can take these alternative paths that spice up the gameplay a bit. So let's see where this one takes us. It took me to the beginning of the level. Who cares? I don't care. I don't even care. This game wouldn't even be so bad if they slowed down the pace a bit and zoomed the screen out. Everything's too close up. Before you know it, you get pelted with something you didn't even have a chance to react to. You never know what to expect next. You just gotta kind of carefully inch along to beat this game, and hey, that's just no fun. No, look! There is falling damage in this game. I'm not crazy. You can't put falling damage in a freaking platformer. That's like putting gravy on Skittles. Alright, almost done with this level. Just gotta get a little... Oh? Jumping in a car killed me. No, I don't really... That's the way we wash our hands. I'll take your hint, Bubsy. I see what you're saying to me. Don't you worry. We're on the same level. Jesus. Let's try Bubsy 2. Maybe this one's a little better. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah! Bubsy 2! Bubsy 3! Bubsy fucking 2!
Bubsy, Bobcat!
Oh, and don't expect those amazing puns to stop anytime soon. If anything, it speeds up from here.
Remember, I am a trained professional.
Now, I'm not exactly sure what's happening here on the intro screen, but I do know Bubsy turns around and is like, what the fuck is this shit?
I like it.
Apparently, though, he likes it. So I can choose between one player, Grand Tour, whatever that is, and play for points. Yeah, play for points! Gotta get that gamer score up and post it to SNES Live, yo.
Yo, Gatorade me, bitch.
Was the ending of Bubsy 1 that fantastical? Did some plot development end up causing the Bubsy universe to become a 1984-esque dystopian future? Well, clearly one thing's for sure. I gotta pick from West Wing and East Wing. Never mind Bubsy 1 and Bubsy 2 over here, you know, the whoever they are. So it would appear that Bubsy's in some weird place and he's gotta go to all these places and beat the levels. Don't worry, it's all very well explained. Well, this time around, at least we got more buttons to work with. You can jump, glide, and use an item. Now, by far, the best feature in this game is whenever Bubsy dies, he'll say the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'll be back. Oh, nuts! Oh, keep it up, just keep it up!
He'll make some quote from a famous movie or something. Although dissimilar to the likes of Duke Nukem, when Bubsy makes these references, it's not endearing. It's just annoying.
Is the writer's strike over yet?
Apparently not, Bubsy. Apparently not. Wow, they should have called this game Drugsy. I mean, wow. Looks like it's on drugs. What's going on in this picture? It's like some Salvador Dali shit. You got pig statues and bouncing pigs and pig lady. What is this? What is Pig World? Oh, okay. It's Hamelot. It's Hamelot. Good one, Bubsy. Hey, wanna be a cast member on Saturday Night Live? I know you'll make the most of it! I'm leaving you, Bubsy! It's just like they drew up about 200 assets and dumped them all into this world with no cohesiveness whatsoever. I mean, I guess it seems like they're really trying here, but my god, it's a clusterfuck to the eyes. I can't play this. It's like a fever dream. Why is he doing that? Why is he doing that for? What is the reason for this? It's hard to explain, but you don't get the same kind of environmental feedback like you would in Donkey Kong. Bubsy doesn't have much weight or feel like he's really there, so it's hard to play and control. You would have to be really young to get any enjoyment out of this. I mean, Bubsy 2 is marginally better than Bubsy 1, but it's honestly only because of the better art design. Okay, this whole situation's starting to make me vomit my mouth a bit, so let's graduate to our final stop on this journey.
You don't want this. You think you want this now, but trust me, you don't want this.
Bubsy 3D for the PlayStation 1. Apparently, it's winner of the Gold X Award. One of the sleeper hits of '96. Yeah, a quote from the guy who made Bubsy 3D. Run, jump, swim, and fly anywhere. Get your paws on a mess of atoms for extra lives? Okay, hold the phone. Having one-ups in your game is not a selling point, let alone a bullet on the back of the box. I mean, you can just tell they were really stretching to say even one good thing about this game. Play cat and mouse in a unique two-player mode. Yeah, okay. But hey, this game's from the good old days where the game manual is actually the cover of the jewel case. And by good old days, I mean good lord is it hard to get this thing out. It's got these two little bumps here that keep it from slipping out and 4 pins holding it in place. There's really no easy way to get it out. Not like you're gonna need instructions on how to play Bubsy 3D. An instruction manual on better game selection might be more useful to you at this point.
I don't want to do this. I'm just letting you know that this is a bad idea.
What could possibly go wrong?
Whoa, hey, whoa now. I think we know where all the budget went. So, as it would seem, the bad guys in Bubsy 3D are the sneezing enemies from the first game. I like how that's actually what they went with. As if they were like, nope, they were the first enemies in the first one, that's it. They have to be the main enemy. We can't come up with anything better than this. Than fucking this! Dude, Parallel Universe Shigeru Miyamoto's like the Goombas that the first enemy you see in the first game. Well, that's it. The main villain. 5 stars! 8+! 4 stars! Man, if these are the cutscene graphics, I don't know that I want to see the real game. Bubsy is 3D in Forbidden Planet. Because talent. Well, there you have it. Bubsy 3D. Now this is truly art right here. Yeah, you are looking at fine art. Where do we even begin with this? Bubsy 3D's controls can't even be categorized as bad. They're closer to unfinished. It's nonsensical how you move in this game, and it goes beyond every gaming convention. It's hard to explain, but you can't run around freely like in Mario 64. You can only go straight forward and straight back. To turn, you literally have to move your trajectory left and right and then go forward when you got the direction you want to go. In turn, this makes Bubsy 3D feel more like a freaking strategy game than a platformer. And, oh, don't you forget, this game wants you to know that this is the true essence of a platformer.
Now, what would a platform game be without platforms?
Now, if you would just take a nice look at these platforms, yep, that sure is a platform, alright. A non-colored, non-polygonal, non-textured platform. Bubsy 3D! Literally a platformer! Oh God! Oh God! Who looked at this and thought it was okay? This is what the alpha version .001 of a game should look like, not the finished product. Now, it is true that Mario 64 revolutionized 3D platformers and changed the way we expect them to function, but Mario 64 came out on June 23rd, 1996, whereas this game came out October 31st, 1996. That's about 3 months later. And if you're blaming the PlayStation 1's 32-bit limitations, just take a look at Crash Bandicoot, still before Bubsy 3D on August 31st, 1996. So let's talk about jumping. When you jump, and this is every time you jump, for some reason the camera pans down at the ground. I suppose to help you see where you're gonna land, but after a while it just kinda gets nauseating and obstructs your view. There were just so many poor design choices here that it's impossible to count them all off the top of my head. And oh, don't lose any sleep. Bubsy still says things. Oh, does he ever still say things?
Oh, look! An arrow! Aren't these game designers wonderful?
Now, how truly ironic. A game designer's job, in most cases, is to create a living world that ceases to be fake in the mind of the player. I mean, think about it. Even if the game constantly breaks the fourth wall like in Duke Nukem or Monkey Island, the world is still believable. Your suspension of belief kicks in, and your mind allows you to meld with the game environment as if you were actually there. When a game like Bubsy 3D makes self-referential humor, it just seems foolish. Having the designers of this game refer to themselves as designers, something just feels wrong about it. Game theory time! The more you know. I mean, look at the walls and the ground. It's about as basic as you can get for polygonal gaming. Bubsy himself is the best looking model in the game, and even he has only like 5 frames per animation. I suppose what your goal in this game is to find the 32 missing pieces of your escape rocket or something. There's 16 levels in this game, so I suppose that would be 2 rocket pieces per level. The game actually comes with a little map of the first 3 levels. Huh, from way up here it looks like Sonic 3D Blast. Almost makes you feel a little bad. Someone put their heart and soul into this game, and maybe it was really the best they could do. I mean, they even named different areas and gave the levels clever little names like Claws for Alarm and Claustrophobic and Catatonic Catastrophe.
Did I just say I felt bad? Let me rephrase that. I feel bad for me.
You think I'm skimping you here or something? No, this is all there is to show. There's nothing more. You just walk around this place and grab atoms. That's it. And it's hard to even grab them. The hit detection is so precise. I mean, if you can't even get the coins in your game right, I mean, you want it to be gratifying. You want it to be like, yeah, coin! You don't want it to be like, hi, yes, oh, excuse me, sorry, I just, trying to grab that coin. Jeff Goldblum. Wait, what? Turns out if you leave your controller idle for too long, Bubsy starts messing around with your TV settings.
No, look, seriously, look. That's it, that's the best thing. That's the best thing in the whole game. He's fucking with my TV. Good.
I think you know. Admit it or not, you just have to know that you failed at making your game when the player has a hard time walking from point A to point B. Now, no distractions, no obstacles, just walking in a straight line. Watch the fuck out, citizens of Bubsy Land. Captain Bubsy's drunk as shit again and heavily armed with puns.
You know, Jacques, we didn't have to do all that, play all those games. You know, Rockington agrees with me, okay? You can be a bit of a type A personality sometimes, and I don't care. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna speak the truth. I didn't mean it!
'Cause you had a bad day, you take everyone down, you sing a sad song just to turn it around.
Want to get the latest info and updates on JonTron videos and events? Well, go on over to facebook.com/JonTronShow and click like. I'll be waiting for you. If you enjoy watching these videos, share them with your friends. Hey, don't be the Bogart. Humphrey Bogart, that is.
Reality TV.
And wow, that was a beautiful Bubsy. $14,542 we've raised so far, guys. Also, we just hit. This will put Bubsy 3D on the front page. Yes! Guys, we are on the front page of Twitch with Bubsy 3D. We got 10,000 viewers, and we've raised almost $15,000 for charity. This is amazing. All because of Bubsy. Bubsy actually had a purpose on this planet. Could you fucking believe it? No, I don't want to change options. Cancel. Cancel. Quick game. I didn't even start the game. Could you believe that the developers of this god-awful game would actually one day serve a purpose in life and actually do something good?
So, you wanna be a video game star. For starters, grab all the items you see. There's plenty of them in each level. And if you get enough of them, you'll be in for some surprises.
Gotta raise the volume for that. Definitely. So, Bubsy 3D was a failed attempt at a 3D platformer. Bubsy had some 2D games. And, Bubsy had some 2D games, but the thing about Bubsy is that he did not make the transition as successfully as Mario did. In fact, this is putrid dog shit level of video gaming.
Woolies, my
enemies. I don't know how do you attack the enemies? You gotta land on them. The controls are so bad.
If you lose a Bubsy, you'll start over here instead of at the beginning of
the voice acting. Mario, what is this Bubsy guy? This guy, he's been going around saying that he's the best new platforming game. What is this shit, Mario? Luigi, it's a bunch of shit. Don't buy into the hype, Luigi. Bubsy can't even turn. It takes him 15 seconds to make a complete 360 degrees turn, Luigi. I don't know, Mario. I kind of like this Bubsy game more than the Mario game. It's because you got Terminal 8, Luigi.
Shoot the woolly with the atom.
Oh boy, look at all these frames of animation. So let me explain this to you guys. If you were to try to like cut a steak, like a really tough steak, since we mentioned steaks before, try cutting a steak with a balloon. That is how I feel in terms of frustration level when playing Bubsy 3D. Not only are the controls by the way, someone actually gave me this game at Too Many Games at the convention I was just at.
Hey,
Someone gave me this game.
Bubsy Smash Tony Rollies.
Is that an Arnold impression? It feels like... Come on. Oh god, you remember that? The day of the cutscene? When the cutscene used to be like the game over screen? We hit it. We hit 15K, guys. Awesome. As soon as I'm done with this game, that extra 100, I don't have much time.
Hey, Vin.
What's up, Freg?
You owe us $100.
I owe you $100. I'm not gonna lie.
You get 15K hype?
15K hype? I don't even like the word hype, but why not?
Dude, why not?
It makes me upset deep down when I hear the word hype.
Why is that?
It reminds me of all the Christmases I didn't get what I wanted.
Oh, that's okay. I know the feel.
Anyway, 15K hype, Fred.
Have fun.
Thanks, dude. Fun, he says. He wants me to have fun. What the fuck am I supposed to do here? Oh, I hate this game! Okay, there's an arrow leading to that direction. Maybe I have to go up here? Oh, god damn it! controls are so stiff. It's like, this game came out after Mario 64. Did they not learn a single lesson from that game? Platform. He's got his hand. Oh, okay. I thought that was his hand and his ass. That was actually his tail. Oh, I did it. I activated the platform. So now the platform's here. Oh, come on! Alright, you want me to wait? Okay, someone says wait and don't press a button. Okay. I'm having a lot of trouble looking at this game because none of it makes any sense aesthetically. And this music sounds like the Mars Attacks music that killed the aliens. Okay, Bubsy, don't look at me. Don't you fucking dare look at me, Bubsy. Don't look at me. Stop. What are you doing? What the? Can we leave the sharpness level at that? Oh yes, get swifty. Get swifty, Bubsy. Amazing. That's what happens when you press back on the D-pad. No! 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 One of the worst controlling games I've ever played. This is not how you control a character in a 3D space. Also, art. I will not be looking at the art tonight, guys. If you made art tomorrow, during my stream tomorrow, I'll be checking it out. Oh, yes, we're rewarded with a cutscene. High quality cutscene. So this is definitely one of the most difficult games I've ever had to play. This is really bad. This is up there. Look, the shovelware games are not as famous as this. Just want to see what this next level looks like real quick. I don't want to look. I don't. Okay. What is this? I don't want to save. Oh god, even the menus are confusing and rancid. Claustrophobic. The music hurts. There's just someone like chewing on like metal in my left ear. Now he's in my right ear. Does Bubsy have an attack other than jump on enemies? Yeah, this is pretty bad. Well, this is officially... I've played a lot of bad games. I've held off on Bubsy because other streamers have streamed it on vinesauce.com, but I'll tell you this. This is definitely one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. I knew it would be. It's not like I didn't expect this. Yes! Oh, that was the best part of the game so far. Alright, that's enough of Bubsy.
None of those horrors compared to...
Hey kids, Sean Rawless here. This is a developer walkthrough of my new anticipated game, Bubsy 3D2, which is coming exclusively to the PS4, and we're here with Chapter 1, The Fur Awakening. Now, I did want to bring the game to Xbox, but the game, the graphics are only possible on PlayStation 4. For this part, for instance, here, I'm going to use the Kinect, and I position myself on like a stool, and I put my arms and my legs backwards, and it's like I'm flowing through the air like a majestic squirrel just flying into an acorn, you know, trying to store enough food for the winter. And here we are, I'm approaching a scale replica of the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. Our team actually scoped out the entire museum and made the exact same museum. It's to scale, fully to scale, and that's fully scaled. And this is to level 2, Night at the Museum. I just want to take a look at the Tyrese character here. If you look at his face, that is real bump mapping, and that is completely to scale for that motion actor's face, and that's all the real. And you can see the three, they get smaller, and they scale downwards. So and then we have a really big guy. So I wanted to get kids, you know, excited, back to being excited about art. This is one of my favorite levels of the whole game. You actually have to scale the art crates, and with art you can reach new heights. I like to think about this game as a kind of like that game Journey, you know, it's like that game but with better graphics. Now we're approaching the final level, Elmo's Breath. Fans of Sesame Street will really like this. He climbs into the coffin for his final ascent, and away he goes. And boom, what's up, right, baby? You thought this game sucked dick, didn't you? I told you my game was the shit. Didn't I tell you my game was the shit? I'm a coffin going through hell. I'm like going down this half pipe Tony Hawk himself made. Going down, back flipping off of Tony Hawk's nose. You thought this game was stupid. Chapter 4. You go to fucking hell. You go to hell. I'm adult. Now I'm a fucking adult. Look at all the skeletons. I got that down, but that down, but that down, but that down. Skeletons dancing off and shit. Jump over here. Now you've reached the end. The game was made in sponsorship with we did feature product placement. I'm not at liberty to say which company paid extra to be featured in the game, but it is an artistic masterpiece.
Ball deprivation!
Bubsy in Fractured Furry Tales is a platform video game developed by Imagine Tech Design and published by Atari.
Oh sure, let's all torture the Bubster.
It was the third of 4 games in the Bubsy series, and the only one to be released exclusively for the Atari Jaguar video game console. The gameplay is very similar to the first 2 games in the Bubsy series. The gameplay is as a 2D side-scrolling platformer. While the goal is still to maneuver Bubsy through the level to the end, this game emphasizes more on puzzle elements such as flipping switches, complicated level design, and bad enemy placing. As the game's title does suggest, the levels are themed after fairy tales such as Alice in Wonderland, as you can see here, Jack and the Beanstalk, Alibaba, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Hansel and Gretel. In the game, all the fairy tales have been corrupted, and Bubsy is tasked to fix them and protect the children of the world from the ruined fairy tales. The game also featured a password mechanic, allowing the player to revisit any level once already completed. I may add there is no save function for this game. Fractured Fairy Tales was received largely mixed reviews, despite giving it a relatively modest score out of 6.4 out of 10. Electronic Gaming Monthly lauded the game, commenting that Bubsy fans will love this version of the popular character, and this one will prove even more challenging to the most hardened veterans of the series. The levels are huge, the graphics are very detailed, and the sound quality is impressive. GamePro commented that Bubsy offers a muddled mix of good and bad ingredients, citing colourful graphics but jerky animation, good music but raspy sound effects, inconsistent control responsiveness, and fickle collision detection. Next Generation also said that it has a colourful and visually pleasing graphic design and generic gameplay, and concluded, not a bad title, but the platform fans will probably find Zool 2 a little more entertaining. From my own experience with Bubsy in Fractured Fairy Tales, it is literally the first game been reskinned, because full damage, bad collision detection is all present here, and you can't go at super high speeds because you're going to hit a badly placed enemy, and this is not good. It's really not good. Fractured Fairy Tales is definitely not one to seek out to buy and play for the Jaguar console. I bought it, I regret it, I want my money back, but that's not going to happen. So, I do not recommend that you buy Bubsy in Fractured Fairy Tales. In fact, just don't buy Bubsy at all. Please heed the warning of the internet that Bubsy is a no-go zone.
Oh, sure, let's all torch the Bubster. Oh, no, history.
I've been waiting to settle this score since 1993.
Hello and welcome to another episode of A Brief History, the show where I give you a crash course in the history of everyone's favorite video game franchises. I'm Foot of a Ferret, and today's lesson is on Bubsy. Ready, set, go! San Jose, California, 1993. After 9 years of third-party development, American video game publishers Accolade found themselves smack dab in the middle of the infamous 16-bit console wars of the 1990s. Everything during this period was Nintendo versus Sega, SNES versus Genesis, Mario versus Sonic.
No! Not that one! Never that one! Get it out of here!
But beneath the rivalry of these two gaming juggernauts lay the third-party developers such as Accolade. In order to truly stand out during this era of gaming, developers needed to have a lovable platforming mascot to compete with the aforementioned Mario and Sonic. And where Capcom had Mega Man and Rareware had their newly designed Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, Accolade blew the entire industry out of the water with their timeless new original character, Bubsy Bobcat. First premiering in May of 1993, Bubsy rocked the gaming world with his breakout hit, Claws Encounters of the Third Kind, a 2D platformer which transcended the console wars by being released for both Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. In this game, players assumed the role of the incomparable Bubsy, leading him through expansive and colorful levels to defeat evil aliens called Woolies and save the world's supply of yarn balls from being stolen. Bubsy could do anything and everything expected of a 1990s platforming mascot and more. He ran by gaining momentum similar to Sonic the Hedgehog, and he could jump great heights and stomp out enemies a la Super Mario. However, Bubsy stood out by introducing a gliding technique. Now, I know that Mario had tinkered with some gliding moves in the past, but these were only available through power-ups and included the ability to gain altitude with the press of a button. However, Bubsy allowed the player to glide at any time, but compensated for this by making the glide a straight shot. A technique that would later go on to influence the abilities of the character Knuckles from the 1994 Sega Genesis game Sonic and Knuckles. Okay, maybe it was just a coincidence, but I like to think that Knuckles is just a Japanese Bubsy ripoff. Bubsy also provided an incredible challenge via hazardous level design and enemy placement, no health pickups, and the inclusion of falling damage, something rarely seen in other 2D platformers. Unsurprisingly, Bubsy in Claws Encounters of the Third Kind was received incredibly well from critics, ranking an average of 7.5 out of 10, and needless to say, gamers nationwide were clamoring for more. In fact, the hype around Bubsy was so immense that a pilot was produced for a full-fledged Saturday morning Bubsy cartoon show. Unfortunately, the show never got picked up, leaving gamers even more desperate for a sequel to the first Bubsy game. Luckily, Accolade heard this outcry and quickly delivered exactly what we all wanted, the second installment to the Bubsy franchise, simply titled Bubsy 2. Released for both Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis on October 28, 1994, Bubsy 2 retained the classic gameplay of its predecessor while building and expanding upon it in almost every way. Players could still run, jump, and glide, but this time around the yarn balls were replaced with marbles, a risky choice, but ultimately I think it worked out in the end. However, the biggest difference between Bubsy 1 and 2 was the gameplay variety. Bubsy 2 introduced multiplayer, a hub world with 2 different wings, the ability to play levels in any order, mini-games, flying segments, and the use of items such as Bubsy's Nerf gun. And all of that is just the tip of the iceberg of what Bubsy 2 added to the previous game's formula. However, strangely enough, while still receiving positive reviews, Bubsy 2 was not quite as well received as its predecessor. Many critics saw it as an improvement, yet series creator Michael Berlin, who had no involvement in Bubsy 2, stated that it just about killed the franchise. But that kind of thing is to be expected of most sequels. While Bubsy 2 was no sophomore slump, it was just no claws encounters. It was close, but let's be honest, no game could truly match the magic of the original Bubsy, and Accolade were not about to give up on their flagship franchise. So in December of 1994, only 2 months after the release of Bubsy 2, Accolade released Bubsy in Fractured Furry Tales, a more puzzle and exploration-based 2D platformer that was not released for the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis. No, this particular Bubsy game was the first and only game in the series to be released exclusively on the Atari Jaguar. Developed by Magitech Design, Fractured Furry Tales was kind of the dark horse of the Bubsy franchise. It remained more or less consistent with the established formula of the series, but because it was released on the Atari Jaguar, a console which both sold and performed poorly, it went largely unnoticed. Like an obscure yet beautiful artistic piece at a museum that goes unnoticed because everyone's too busy checking out the more popular, world-renowned pieces. Yes, those popular pieces are great, but so is that random, seemingly nameless painting in the corner. It might not have the big name and massive promotion attached to it, but it's still a quality piece of art. Sorry, I got lost for a second. Anyway, in 1995, after appearing in 3 games across 3 consoles in just a little over a year, Accolade gave Bubsy a well-deserved break in terms of new games. But gamers still got their much-needed Bubsy fix this year with the first ever handheld game in the series, Bubsy 2 for Game Boy, which featured different level designs from its console companion, and Super Bubsy, a PC remake of the first Bubsy game. So by 1996, Accolade's Bubsy series had hit it big and established itself as the third-party rival to Mario and Sonic. But after the underwhelming sales of Fractured Furry Tales, Accolade knew they needed to step things up. It wasn't 1993 anymore. The 16-bit era was ending and the infamous battle between Sega and Nintendo was dying down. The gaming world as a whole was gaining a new dimension with the introduction of consoles like the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation. It was clear what was next. Bubsy had to go 3D. Released for the original PlayStation on October 31st, 1996 and developed by Eidetic, the aptly named Bubsy 3D saw Bubsy being kidnapped by the fan-favorite Woolies from Bubsy 1 and taken to their home planet Rayon. It was now Bubsy's job and therefore your job to defeat the Woolies and collect scattered pieces of a rocket ship in order to get back home. This was done by performing all of Bubsy's signature tricks, except now they were being done in 3D space. In this game, in order to move, the player must rotate Bubsy's trajectory using the left and right buttons on the D-pad. Then they can either walk forwards or backwards. This, mixed with the game's fascinating art direction, made Bubsy 3D one of the most unique and challenging 3D platformers of its time. Bubsy 3D was nothing short of revolutionary. In the earliest days of 3D gaming, Bubsy 3D didn't just set the path for all to follow, it blazed through it far, far ahead of its time. Sure, at the time of its release, Bubsy 3D was critically panned, and games like Mario 64 and Crash Bandicoot hogged up the spotlight. But you know what other game was critically panned upon release? Earthbound, one of the greatest RPGs of all time. Bubsy 3D is to platformers as Earthbound is to RPGs. We just haven't caught up with it yet. And Accolade knew this. Having achieved gaming nirvana with Bubsy 3D, they soon closed their doors in 1999. They had made their contribution to the gaming world, and there was nothing more that they needed to do. Well, that and the fact that they were bought out by the French company Infogrames, but they still went out strong. The Bubsy series truly is one of the greatest, if underappreciated, series of platformers in existence. From its mastery of loose, floaty gameplay and definitely not overcomplicated design to its memorable characters whose names totally exist somewhere, and the most hilarious puns this side of Hamelot, Accolade's beloved Bobcat can only be described as a legendary icon. Timely upon release and truly ahead of the curve by its retirement, this is a one-of-a-kind franchise, the likes of which we may never see again. But even though Bubsy may be gone, the stamp he left on the gaming industry has shaped virtually every game that came in its wake, and for that, we as a gaming community are forever grateful. And that brings me back to you. Of course, we all love Bubsy here, so there's no real point in me asking you whether or not you're a fan, so I want to know. Do you prefer the classic gameplay of the 2D Bubsy games, or the revolutionary challenge of Bubsy 3D? On one hand, you've got about 5 classic 2D platformers, and on the other hand, you have enlightenment. Click on one of these to let me know, study up by watching other brief histories, game theories, and more, and until next time, thanks for watching, guys. DFTBA. Brawl Fools Month. April Fool's month. The timing on this episode didn't really work out. Okay, legitimately, every single fact that I told you in this video is 100% true except for one thing, and that is the fact that Bubsy is one of the most infamous franchises in gaming history. And if you would like to find out why, you can check out this awesome video by the YouTuber Some Call Me Johnny. He goes super in-depth and reviews almost every game in the series, so if you aren't already aware of just how notorious Bubsy is, you can check out this video, and if you do, please be sure to tell Johnny that Foot of a Ferret sent you. Anyways, thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you soon. DFTBA. You look at the back of the box of Bubsy 3D, you say, hey, he ain't winking, he's just overexposed. Light's too bright. Turn it down. Poor kid can't see.
Bubsy, the Woolies Strike Back by Accolade.
Bubsy is the main character of 4 titles that Accolade published in the 90s. Bubsy was supposed to be a bobcat with an attitude, but really he's an annoying dumbass, and you'll see why in a minute because I'm going to take you through these shitty games. First up we have Bubsy, Claws Encounters of the Third Kind. That's based off a science fiction movie called Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which has to do with a man getting obsessed with UFOs. This one is about aliens. You hear that and say, well, maybe it could be slightly related to the movie. But no, because the only reason the aliens are there are to steal Bubsy's yarn collection. That has nothing to do with the plot of the original movie. They just stuck a dumb pun in there for whatever reason and it's fucking stupid. And have you seen this? He's got an exclamation mark on his shirt. Is he telling us to stay away from this game? By the end of this, you'll probably wish you had. The game itself actually looks nice. How it plays though is a different story. The jump controls are stiffer than a horse's cock after taking a pound of Viagra. It might not look like it in this video, but if you've played the game, you know how weird this is. And what the fuck is this thing? Is he trying to kiss me, blow me, or both? The biggest problem with this game is that you die after one hit. That's right, you die after getting hit a single time. To be fair though, they do give you continues and there are even checkpoints. But there's one final thing. Look at this. I can go down this manhole and find a bunch of yarn. Common sense dictates that I can do the same here. But nope. It's a trap. Why would you do that to a kid? The people who developed this game are assholes. That's strike one. Now on to Bubsy 2. So much for consistency because they dropped the pun name bullshit. There's not much to say about this game because it's nearly the same game as the first Bubsy. They do fix the death in one hit issue, which I appreciate. But they gotta give you horrible level design and never tell you where to go. That's bullshit. Now, there's a third Bubsy game called Bubsy and Fractured Furry Tales. But it plays exactly like the other one, so why bother doing it? Besides,
never mind that shit.
We've got a bigger problem on our hands. This game I'm about to show you is the conglomerate of dog shit, the essence of pure evil emulated on a disc, and possibly the worst game in video game history. This is Bubsy 3D, Fur-Bitten Planet. Right off the bat, you can tell that this game is gonna haunt your dreams for the rest of your life. And look, more stupid puns. They never end. But now onto the game. My eyes nearly just shattered from looking at all these flat-ass shitty graphics. The point is progressing until you find the end of the level. You don't really have to collect these weird items either. They're useless. Trying to describe how broken the controls of this game are is like trying to describe advanced quantum physics to a toddler. Unless you've played this game yourself, you wouldn't understand how fucked up they are no matter how much I try to tell you. Bubsy also moves like he's running on ice. I don't know how you can slip and slide on grass. When he moves, the camera goes down and it's fucking revolting. I thought I was gonna make this jump, but nope. The graphics in this game are also a goddamn circus. Some are textured and some aren't. It looks like somebody vomited, took a picture of it, and rendered it for this game. My main gripe with this game is that it's basically a maze. They give you a ton of shit to collect, but it has you running around getting even angrier because you're nowhere near completion of the level. So you know what? Fuck this game. This is Strike 2, Revenge of Strike 2, Strike 3 Resurrection, The Search for Strike 4, and Strike 5, the remake of Strike 1. You know how I said Cheetahman was the worst game I'd ever played? It was for exactly a week until I played this bullshit. When this game was destroyed by critics, the developers blamed the success of Super Mario 64 and said that because it was so much better than this game, people hated this game more. No, that's bullshit. We hate your stinking fucking game because the controls suck donkey dick, the plot makes no sense, and your main character's an annoying jackass. Matter of fact, come over here, Bubsy. I'm gonna kill you, you fucking cocksucker! At the beginning of the game, Bubsy asks you, what could possibly go wrong? And the answer is fucking everything.